Dark matter is a hypothetical form of matter that does not interact with light or the electromagnetic field. It is inferred from gravitational effects that cannot be explained by ordinary matter. Dark matter is the second dimension of three, with the first being matter and the third being light. Matter is the visible and tangible substance that forms the physical world. Light is the electromagnetic radiation that illuminates and reveals matter. Dark matter is the substance with which imagination consists of. Imagination is the ability to create or recreate mental images or scenarios that are not directly observable or accessible. Imagination is a form of cognition and creativity that is essential for human development and culture. Imagination requires a mental representation of the target that is not constrained by the laws of physics or logic. Dark matter provides this representation by creating a gravitational link between the imaginer and the imagined. In addition to this, dark matter also coincides with the psychological dimension of the subconsciousness. The subconsciousness is part of the mind that influences behavior and cognition without being fully conscious or aware of it. The subconsciousness stores memories, emotions, instincts, and habits that are not easily accessible by the conscious mind. The subconscious is shaped by the environment and the experiences of the individual. Dark matter is the medium through which the subconscious influences the conscious mind by exerting a subtle gravitational force on the brain and body. The third dimension of light corresponds to the psychological dimensions of the unconsciousness. The unconsciousness is part of the mind that is completely inaccessible and unknown to the conscious mind. The unconsciousness contains the deepest and most primal aspects of self, such as the collective unconsciousness, the archetypes, the instincts, and the soul. The unconsciousness is the source of creativity, inspiration, and transcendence. Light is the medium through which the unconscious communicates with the conscious mind. Chapter 1, Daniel's prophecy is revealed. Chapter 1, the day for a year principle and the prophecy of Daniel 12. The day for a year principle is a method of interpreting biblical prophecy that assumes that each day in a prophetic vision or text represents a year of actual time. This principle is based on some biblical passages that seem to use days as symbols for years, such as Numbers 14:34 and Ezekiel 4:5 to 6. However, not all scholars agree this principle is valid or applicable to all prophecies, especially those in the book of Daniel. One of the most challenging prophecies in the book of Daniel is found in chapter 12, where the angel tells Daniel about the time of the end and the resurrection of the dead. The angel says, "And from the time that the regular burnt offering is taken away and the abomination that makes desolate is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he who waits and arrives at the 1335 days." What does this prophecy mean? When does it start and end? What is the abomination that makes desolate? Who are the blessed ones? These are some of the questions that arise after reading it. One possible way to approach this prophecy is to use the day for a year principle and assume that the starting point is 688 AD, the year when the Dome of the Rock, a Muslim shrine, was built in the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Some Christians consider this shrine to be the abomination that makes desolate, since it denies the deity of Jesus Christ and stands on the holy site of the Jewish temple. 1,290 years from 688 AD is 1978 AD. This could be related to the Camp David Accords, a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt that was signed in September 1978. This treaty restored diplomatic relations between the two countries and returned the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt, which had been occupied by Israel by 1,290 years from 688 AD is 1978 AD. This could be related to the Camp David Accords, a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt that was signed in September 1978. This treaty restored diplomatic relations between the two countries and returned the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt, which had been occupied by Israel since the Six Day War in 1967. Some Christians view this treaty as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy since it allowed Israel to have peace and security in the region and to resume regular burnt offering on the Temple Mount. 1,335 years from 688 AD is 2023 AD. This could be related to the time of Jacob's trouble, a period of great distress and persecution for the Jewish people that is prophesied in Jeremiah 30, verse 7, and Matthew 24, verse 21. Some Christians believe that this period will coincide with the 70th week of Daniel, a 7 year period of tribulation at the Christ rule that would precede the second coming of Christ. Some signs of this period could be the rise of a global leader such as Trump, who will make a covenant with Israel and then break it, and the rebuilding of the Jewish temple and the resumption of sacrificial systems, the invasion of Israel by a coalition of nations led by Gog and Magog, and the outbreak of wars, famines, pestilences, and natural disasters.